bad chess here. Hopefully not as bad as before. I played a little bit and got my rating up to, what is it, 1500 or so. So at least if I lose, I'll lose to a little bit better player and not be quite as embarrassing. This game is such a weird game. You never know how bad you can get. It can humble you. So the Bible verse we're going to look at is actually, I guess it's four verses, 106, Psalm 106, 11 to 15. I like these kind of verses because they're human nature verses that get to the guts of how humans react to God. And it says the waters covered their adversaries. So it's in the middle. If you go to read all of Psalm 106, it's a recounting of Israel and Israel's just misadventures with God in the wilderness. And so you see the waters covered their adversaries, not one of them survived. So just, recounting the total annihilation of Egypt. But then it goes, it says that their response was, wow, we really believe, Castle and get out of this mess. This doesn't look like it's setting up very well for me. You can see that human nature of like, oh, wow, the God thing actually worked just now. Wow. Um, I believe his promises and I sang his praise. See that sort of like transactional relationship that Israel was experiencing with God. That pen. I'm just playing instinctually here. I find actually, I think I play better against a little bit higher rated people when they're down to like 1200. It just feels like there's no predictability, and I don't play well against those players. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. It's just anything could happen, anything goes. So that transaction, Psalm 106, 11 to 15, the waters covered their adversaries, not one of them survived. Then they believed, then they sang. But then look at the next. So this will be interesting here. What happened? Is he going to take that piece? If not, he's going to get taken. Yeah, so he didn't see that. And now I've forked these two. So he may resign right here. And I'll just talk about the verse a little bit more. Yeah, okay, so he resigned. So let's switch over to the Logos here. Yeah, the waters covered the adversaries, and not one of them survived, and they believed his promises and sang his praise. But they soon forgot what he had done and did not wait for his plan to unfold. So, I mean, it's easy to read these recountings of Israel in the Pentateuch and just sort of sneer at them, but boy, how much are we like that? Our human nature that there's that, okay, we were transactional the one way. Yeah, oh wow, it worked out. Wow, God wiped out my enemies. He wiped out my problems. Oh, I sing his praise, and I believe his promises. But they soon forgot what he had done and then did not wait for his plan to unfold. That's every single sin that you or I have ever committed is forgetting what he had done and not waiting for his plan to unfold. And then you can see it gets really human nature here in verse 14. In the desert, they gave into their cravings. This is them like they're just craving meat. Their appetite for just something really fulfilling and not bland and not just what they had just had with manna or whatever. And then in the wilderness, they put God to the test. And then we see in verse 15, so he gave them what they asked for, but sent a wasting disease among them. And it's like, God will let you have what you want. It's like, boy, they're just craving something. Again, it's sort of that Genesis 3, moving away from God, moving away towards fulfilling your own desires and not believing his promises and not waiting for him to do what he's going to do in his time. That's that patience under a place of unsatisfaction. Can see the deeper psychological and theological things at play in the story, and the Psalms sort of like bring that out to the surface. You can read the Torah, you can see it there, but this retelling, this was like a preached over and over again, the Israeli community. This like giving into your cravings, this short time horizons, this short memory, not waiting for his plans to be fulfilled. And then this idea that he would send a disease among them. It's like he didn't wipe them out completely, right? But he gave them what they asked for, but also made sure that they were not able to sustain life without him. So that punishment or that like consequence, that guilt, that shame, that emptiness, that addiction, that destruction of a relationship, all of the wasting disease that comes in on you when you move away from God and you put him to the test, what comes with that, that is also a grace, I would say. That wasting disease. It's like, hey, Israel, you're still alive. You can still turn and really live. Don't move away from the source of your. If they had, imagine if they gave into their cravings, they put him to the test. He gives them what they asked for, and then the next line doesn't say that he sent a wasting disease among them. It says, and he just made sure that they were very happy without him. That would be tragic. That would be devastating. This whole storyline would go off track, away from reconciling God to man. So it may not tie up every bit of tension in the question of God's judgment and his wrath, the goodness of God, but it's at play there.